we are back for another episode of prepping the car for the season. I got my Nerp Tech bushings in today, so we'll be pressing those in, which will put the trailing arms complete. So we're going to get that stuff back in today. I got my M3 output flanges for the diff, so we're going to be putting those in. So we're going to get the rear of the car back together and hopefully get most of the rear end stuff buttoned up. So let's get to it. So these are the Nerp Tech offset bushings that I'm going to be putting in. Just got them in today. These things are sweet. Super excited to be running these. Very good quality. Come apart in two pieces. Got a nice sealed bearing inside, which I'll be showing you once we put them in, but definitely going to be a huge upgrade to what we have. So let's get those pushed in and wrap up the trailing arms and get them back in the car. Alright, so I got my Nerp Tech bushing split. I'm going to be using the vise to push it in. Nerp Tech. Now what I'm going to be doing is, since these are an offset bushing, comes with two different size spacers, I'm actually going to run the bigger spacer on the outside, which normally you'd run it on the inside, but I'm going to be running a lot of toe in to get extra grip. So I'm actually going to be running these spacers backwards than what you normally would, but probably going to try to run around about a 1/4 inch of toe in, so it's going to be quite a bit. But yeah, one bushing done, we'll get the other one in and start throwing these in. Alright, we got the Nerp Tech bushings in. So yeah, let's start throwing these things back in the car. Make sure you head over to Nerp Tech. I'll throw their website in the bio. Make sure you use my discount code. It'll be Foley342. Save a couple bucks. Get some cool products. So I got the trailing arm bolted in. I got to build the rear shocks. We got to open up a package from BC today. That should be the rear springs. So we'll get all that stuff taken care of, and then we'll finish bolting the rest of the trailing arm in. We need the spring to do the upper control arm and all that. So we'll open up the box, we'll build the rear shocks, and then continue with the trailing arm. Alright, so we got a package from BC today. It's going to be my new springs. A huge shout out to BC. Got 12K rear springs, which are going to be going from 10K to 12s. And then we got our front springs, which we're going to be moving up to 10K fronts. Alright, so I got these new rear shocks from BC. As you can see, they're, beefier than these, what I had on the car. These are like the first series. I think these are like second series or whatever, but they upgraded them. Made the shock bodies a little bit bigger. It has a bigger lower mount. I'm going to be pulling the shock mounts and the dampering adjusters off the old ones, the boots, the bump stops, everything, and put them on these new shocks. I got new locking collars, everything. So we're going to throw these on, get these all built. I'm going to make them the same length, so it's got the same preload when we put them on the car, because with the shock and spring setup, you want to have 3/8 of preload, so it keeps the spring taut on it. Pull these off. Bump stops. Alright, so our bump stop on. Put our dust boot on. Like that. And I'm going to keep these on in the trailer with me for backups, because all I have to do is just change the mounts and leave the length, everything, leave it all together, so it'll be all set. If need be, we'll have backups. Put that on. Throw the top washer on. Oh, nice. Snug. Then your adjuster go on the end, or the dampering adjuster I should say. Spin that guy on and just get a little snug. Take our new lower mount. Alright, we got our fresh BC Racing new upgraded shocks in. Got our new 12K rear spring. Now I'm going to be setting the preload on the spring, so I'm going to have 3/8 inch of preload. So basically what you do is you jack up the trailing arm, you get so the spring's taut, then you measure 3/8 of a compression of the spring, and then that's where you make your shock line up to bolt that. So I got just some pressure on the spring now, and then we're gonna set the preload and make sure the shock's in the right spot and bolt it all together. Alright, now we'll just undo this collar, thread the shock body down a little, or the lower mount down a little bit so that lines up, and then we'll bolt it together. And that'll be our 3/8 inch of preload on the spring. Alright, so I got all the rear suspension bolted back in. Everything's all tight. I got the Willwood caliper bolted on. I gotta swap the M stock calipers from the non-M, so I'll be putting the calipers on next, swapping the brake lines. Gotta put the diff in, and that will about wrap up the rear end. In the diff, I found that I have bad bushings. I got the M flanges swapped in already. We gotta do the bushings, and then I'm probably gonna put a breather on this because it's all the pressure is spitting out of the tiny breather now. So I'll probably drill and tap it and put a little hose, stock style breather on it. But once we get that done, the diff will be ready to go back in. Alright, so I'm actually going to put the diff stuff off because I got to get some dowering material to make the new bushings for the cover on the lathe. So that I'm going to have to wait to throw that in, but no big deal. I'm going to hop onto button up the brakes, or sit in the normal brakes, foot brake. I got my new calipers all painted, ready to go on. I'm going to pull apart the old stuff, put the new line on there, bolt it on, and then that'll basically wrap up the normal brakes of the car. I have a fitting coming for the Willwood to convert out of the back of the Willwood, which is an ACE 27 NPT fitting, to the BMW line. So that should be here beginning of the week. So yeah, let me get these M brakes bolted up and plumbed in. Oh yeah, love brake fluid. Don't do nothing but make a goddamn mess. Hey-o! Boom. Hell yeah. Looks sweet to me. So this side will be all done, minus bleeding this obviously, and the fitting for that. But I'm gonna get to the other side, put the stock caliper on, and wrap that up. Always become the goddamn Tin Man playing with this stuff too, no matter how careful you are. Alright, so we got both sides of the rear brakes buttoned up, so it's basically going to be it for the rear for now, because like I said, I got to get material to make those bushings for the diff. The new BC Racing shocks looking sweet back there, keeping the black and gold theme. Got the bigger axles in, so hopefully that's going to solve a big issue that we had last season. Alright, that's going to be a wrap for this one. We got all the M3 trailing arm stuff in, we got our fancy Nerp Tech bushings installed in them, trailing arms bolted in the car, we got our new BC Racing shocks and springs installed. So yeah, everything in the rear is done except for the diff. And yeah, thank you for watching. Catch you at the next one.